One of these things is not like the other.
Spiky Bits.
Welcome back, Hobby Maniacs. I'm Rod Bear from SpikyBits.com, and we got the new Space Marines. Wow, new Space Marines are here. Well, you know, since the last Space Marines. Well, at least the Indominus release. So this week we have two easy to build offerings, the Invader ATV and the Firestrike Turret. And this bad boy right here, the Primaris Chaplain on bike, is actually normal, glue together, clip out, and glue together. So I know we had said on SpikyBits.com, hey guys, this stuff may all be ETB, but it turns out it sort of is. It's like a proto ETB. It's definitely an easier to build kit than just straight multi-part, but it's actually not their, you know, normal ETB, which they indicate right there. Price-wise, this bad boy is $45. The turret itself is $35, and the Invader ATV is $40. And don't forget, you can always get your hobbies for less at dicehead.com or Amazon. Starting off with the Firestrike Servo-Turret. This is actually the least costed of all of these at $35. You can see right there it says ETB. It is made in the UK, so this isn't that chunky China. No, I guess it's not as chunky as it used to be, kind of plastic right there. Only one sprue, it looks like. A big fat base here with some holes punched in it. The old Indominus, not Indominus, the Dark Imperium decal sheet and some instructions. Jumping into how it goes together, it's ETB of course, but that doesn't mean necessarily it's the easiest to build. But you know, sometimes folks, they definitely have an opinion on the ETB, right? Like I mentioned this in a lot of the comments were like, oh, I want to feel like I put it together. I want to feel like I accomplished something. And and slowly but surely the comments gave way to, oh, hey, man, I can get a lot more put together quicker and then play my games, which is kind of where I'm at, to be quite honest with you. So we'll see how long this takes to actually get together off the sprue. I mean, I'm not going to pull all the little, sprues and burrs off it. But the good thing about ETB is you generally, for the most part, don't have to shave any flash. So I get both sides, but for me, where I'm at in 2020, I just want to get the stuff together, but I also want to have that modularity, that future-proofness for my kit. So I feel like this is a good kind of, for me at least, I'm okay with this, I really am. But, leave it in the comments how you feel about that. So it looks like it's kind of like got a bike style control assembly here that the feet are just going to go onto, and then clamshell front and back with a head right there that has a big socket in it, and looks like he spears himself on this little wire here to actually wire into this thing here, and he's got another little wire kind of sticking off the back there with a little pokey thing on it. Okay, cool, you do you, Tech Marine. And then this actually wire goes into the backpack, so I don't know, maybe it's doing the wave there, the snake, I guess. That's the assembly, is what it looks like. We skipped ahead. And then the front armor plate has two little sensor pieces, I guess, that go on it. And then you can choose which way you want. And it looks like which version of the guns you want. And it looks like they all go together, push fit. And then you can swap out at the bottom what the actual ammo is, like the drums for the turret here, or the last cannon energy things for the new pulsar thing. I forget what it's called. We'll find out in a second. And then there's the little foot pads, and it looks like there's specific ones that go specific way. So if you look at it this way, and it has the little sensors forward, and that one is to the left, it looks like it'll mate up okay. And there's a little stone on the back. And then it just goes together. All right, cool. That seems pretty straightforward. I'm okay with that. So Firestrike Servo-Turret has these two. Oh, of course, they don't tell you which weapon, and I forget what it was, but I know the last cannon version of it is pretty good. Yeah, 6-shot, string 7, neg 1, 2, and then whatever this thing is, some sort of bolt weapon or auto cannon. No, that's the last cannon. Oh, it's 24. Okay, cool. D6, yeah. Nice. It's just short range though, so that's interesting with 3-inch movement. But we'll see. We'll see if they're fielded on the tabletop. So let's look at the sprue, or I know they're going to be fielded. Let's see how they shake up the meta, I suppose. Okay, so there's the turret sprue itself, and this looks to be yeah, so this is what we saw on Warhammer website, which is all pretty much face-up detail, except for right there, you could kind of tell in that. You could definitely tell it was ETB at that point, and then you flip it over, and it's all the insides where it all push fits together. But, I mean, for the most part, it looks really well detailed. Nothing out of place here. Like, nice detail work on the ammo feeds there. The front of the Tech Marine, all the wiring and everything. Everything looks good on here. Little foot pads. Well, this doesn't seem too bad. Let's get it together. And there she blows, all assembled together. It looks kind of, well, okay, yeah, I guess that's all push fit in the front. So it's actually pretty cool. It's a neat little kit, and you do have to assemble those foot pads the right way. So use that reference from the instruction manual so you can lock those in, because otherwise it only goes together one particular way. But you can see a lot of the, you know, the detail and everything, like I was talking about. Like he's literally got the thing plugged into his eyeball, and then you've got this little snake wave thing back here that I've seen enough animes that know how that's going to end if you try to sneak up on him. And then, you know, everything else here. Now there's big chunks and things that you know you would definitely expect. We didn't trim all that off. I just want to show you like how much work you're going to have to actually do on it, but you're not going to have to scrape any sprue lines or seam lines, which is really, really nice, right? Size wise, let's take a look. Where's my here's my Primaris Duder on foot. Now this is a 80mm base, so he's gonna look just fine, you know, compared to your other Primaris and such. And then if you want to switch out the weapons, you definitely can. You can switch out the ammo feeds. They're all push fit. You can pull this front off if you want, but maybe what most people might do is just pull off the actual guns themselves and just slot these little bad boys in. Because I mean, at that point, like, does it super matter? I don't know. I mean, I guess it does. You know, if you're setting it up, you could just paint everything, and then you know what you're going to bring to your game. You could just switch those out, but it's not very hard to do. If you really want to, you just pop them, grab them right there, and then put this thing right back onto there. Just make sure that the little wiring for the doodads right there locks into the sensor. But other than that, it literally took like 9 minutes to clip this out and put it together, give or take, not counting probably the 2 minutes I wasted trying to find drop parts and then having to pet the cat on the floor as well. But other than that, I mean, it's super quick. Spend a little bit more time trimming up the burrs and things, and you literally have a model in like 15 minutes ready to paint. All right, so next up on our ETB greatest hits is the Primaris Invader ATV. This is a very cool kit that a lot of people had an opinion on. And again, you know, it is ETB, and I'm sure a lot of folks are going to have an opinion on that too, but it is what it is. This is actually going to be 2 sprues. Now, this was a $40 kit, which basically gives you that for $40, I guess. I don't know. That seems pretty good, I suppose. Of course, you get an instruction manual and this new transfer sheet for 2020. Hey, we got a new transfer sheet here. Let's see if we can get these instructions into here. So here is page 1 of the instruction booklet. It looks like you can swap out the turrets. That's what that seems to indicate there. So you got some left and right little plug things here. Oh, those look like they're the same. Huh. Yeah, they're exactly the same parts. Yep, they're all exactly the same parts. They're just going to go flip backwards because they're a taco cat. They fit either way, front or back. And then you just kind of slide it into the front chassis there with the side fenders. Looks like a front piece with some bolters. Pretty standard stuff there. Dude with handlebars. Starting to look pretty standard. Armored top. Armored top gets a roll cage and an antenna and a front armor plate, and then you add the gunner. Gunner slots in underneath some sort of contraption with the tailpipe muffler. Okay, that's interesting. Then you select the weapon here, so it looks like the Gatler has a little piece on the front right there, and ammo hopper. Multi-Melta's got his little energy thingy, still not locked in, and then the arms lock in, it looks like, pretty easily, and that's it. That's it. That's literally it. Can it really be that easy? Oh, you gotta put the piece on the back of them too. We'll have to make sure we do that one. Sprue wise, this is what we saw on Games Workshop's website, which has a lot of detail on the top, but you could definitely tell with all the holes there that it was probably ETB, most likely, and it turns out it sure is. There's all the underneath, but don't let it fool you. It's got a lot of detail on here, just like you would come to expect from, basically it's kind of a faux Outrider bike looking sort of thing, and yeah, just all the normal stuff you would expect, nothing too crazy. And then here's the driver slash tire sprue, so Primaris drivers, backpack. Only one backpack? Interesting. Somehow that front dude exists without a backpack? I don't know. I guess we'll find out. Let's put it together. So here he is. The buggy goes this thing's pretty cool. It went together really quick. I would say just as quick as the turret. You can see some of the nubs and things on there that we didn't quite trim down just to get it together. So about 9 minutes. This time I lost 2 parts, so about 5 minutes fishing for things on the floor and petting the cat. But other than that, everything's pretty good on here. You can see there are some gaps between the top plate and the side plates here, and then on the kick plate areas here, there's just, you know, they don't go together very well sometimes. So maybe some glue is worth it, or you know, snip off the holes and the shafts and just kind of glue it straight together like some people like to do. The anti-ETBers, we'll call them. I don't know. Like either way, I get both sides of it. No big deal. This guy doesn't have a backpack, so no backpack on him. I guess it just disappears there, and we wouldn't notice anyways. I don't know. To change out the weapon, and you can pull off the antenna and put the antenna or no antenna, whatever you want to do there. But to change out the weapon, it's actually very easy. You just kind of pull a dude's arms up right there, and then you just pop this right out and slot in the multi-melta or vice versa, you know, whatever, and click. And you're good to go, ready, back in action in a jiff. So that's pretty neat to see. Like, again, don't have to, you know, trim any sprue lines, don't have to put any magnets. It just goes together. And size-wise, where's my duder? So size-wise, well, a Primaris is definitely taller for the most part. Well, maybe not, not quite, but close to taller, as tall as this bad boy right here. And where's the Firestrike? So there you go. Now you know the Firestrike can also rotate and go pew 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 pew. But that's what we're looking at so far on sizes. Last but certainly not least, the Primaris Chaplain on bike. This guy is not ETB like we said in the opening. He's $45, which is pretty much the normal price for a like a two sprue character, right? That's nothing too crazy about any of that whatsoever. And apparently I'm just gonna shred this box, but when you open it up, I swear there's gonna be 2 sprues in here, and you can see right here, and the large oval base for cavalry. Now you can see this is the view they gave us on GW site, and definitely it appears at first glance to be very ETB. As a matter of fact, it looks like the wheels slot into the base right there, and then you can see the wheels are hollow, well, had those holes in it, and there's some slots, some various slots about that, you know, definitely led to that assumption, but this is not ETB, so we were wrong about this one. But what it is if you flip it over, it's easier to build. It's not push fit, but you can see from all the slots and everything on here that it is going to require glue, but it's not going to take as much time as a normal multi-part kit, which is really interesting kind of take. And if I had to suspect, I would say the Silent King for the Necrons is exactly the same, but we haven't got them together yet. So here's, oh wow, this is, whew. Okay, so we got a left half here and some sort of internal shock thingy, and then the shock thingy glues to the front armor plate for the wheel, and then the wheels go together just fine. It looks like the tab is down, so it does plug into that base, and then the other wheel well, which is really hard to tell that that's what it is, but that's what it looks like. Another wheel, and then left and right halves together. That yellow means glue, so yep, it's definitely not ETB. And foot pedal or foot pads, exhaust mufflers, whatever you want to call it, and it looks like the Chaplain actually glues to the middle section right here. That's crazy. Oh yeah, so the Chaplain is not something you just put on here like the old bikers. You're actually going to build it into the bike itself, and then the left and right halves of the top and bottom normal Primaris detail are actually going to get glued onto the bike as well over there. Same thing. And then one handlebar, one hand on the handlebar, one hand in the air. Two different Oh, 2 different head options, okay. And then the Crozius raised high and locked on with the one hand. Anything crazy here? Some sort of bar thing on the back, and then some armor plates kind of clamshell onto it to kind of cover up something. I can't tell. Oh, maybe like the mold line or something, or the gap. That might be it, but then there's going to be another gap. Interesting. Little Rosarius hanging off the edge of this handlebar. There it is right there, and there's the other half. And I don't know. This is the book. Oh yeah, this is the book that goes on the front. Oh, so maybe you won't be able to see. Oh, and then it lines in with all the chains. That's going to be cool. I wonder how they pulled that off. And then you glue them to the base, or the train, and then glue them to the base. Now this, so you could leave it off to paint it separately, of course. Okay, so he's got his foot on the ground, and it's actually turned. Okay. I was wondering about that, because it looks like it's at an angle right there. Okay, interesting. This isn't going to be as easy as the other two, but definitely got to pay close attention to this one. More closer. And there he is. So he went together. It took I don't know, about 15 minutes or so. It actually goes together pretty quick. Now the front, and you can see the little studs and stuff, but there really isn't any seam lines too. So it's actually pretty cool. It's not ETB, but there's no seam lines to scrape either that I noticed, unless there's some on this Rosarius or Crozius. No on a Crozius. Maybe here on the backpack? No. Very interesting. Very interesting. This is I like this. I like not having to scrape mold lines for surezies. That if they can do away with that, I'm on board. Whether it's the ETB or the easier to build. And here you can see that the wheel is actually tilted, and then in here is all the innards. So this piece locks on, or you can see some. I got a little sloppy with the glue. The strut glues onto the wheel well. And then this wheel well here locks in and kind of turns there. You can see a better view of it. Foot pads, and he's got his foot on the ground. And then the chains actually have little nubs that lock into little holes in the other chain. So the chains are part of this book, but you can't really tell that that is in one piece, which is really cool as well. So very, very cool stuff from Games Workshop. So, oh, and then the Rosarius, yes, that is the Rosarius. This is actually a separate piece. It seems really small at first, but it glues on just fine. And then over here, I don't know, I guess he puts his scrolls in there, or maybe he keeps his maps. I don't know what that's about. And there's the roll cage or bar. Oops, maybe I didn't glue that down, so go. Yeah, doesn't matter. It's fine. It's fine. This is fine. And then the Rosarius looks pretty good. So he actually locks right into the terrain piece like we were saying, and there's the little nubs on the bottom. Very cool. I like this figure, but I really like how they were able to pull this off. And you can't have a head swap with the little, I lost it. But there's a bare head too, which is pretty cool. So I really like how they pulled this off with less work, but not quite ETB either. But you do have to glue this down. Now, if you're wondering, hey, how do I paint this base with, because you can obviously tell it's a terrain piece glued onto the base, you can always pick up some of this stuff here, which I use a lot of, resin sand from Liquitex, and keep it sealed in a little baggie. But this stuff, just pat it down around the lip, and when you're done, you actually, you can't even tell. Here's a base I just actually did recently it's the same, it's a G-dub base with magnets, but I took some little resin pieces and I glued them on the sides. This is actually for Hortocolis slimy looks. So this is old Mr. Snails' base, but you can't tell that those are just little terrain. They look like they're part of it because that resin sand actually builds up and settles around the pieces, which is really cool. Now some of the G-dub stuff, it shrinks, and I don't really like it. And you can obviously mix glue and sand, but again, it shrinks and you'll be able to tell there's a gap right there. So if you want to be kind of seamless, that's my advice. And I've had that bottle for like a couple years now. So it's really, really good for making custom bases out of little tidbits, like things like this that you're gonna get, which seems to be more and more happening with Games Workshop. And I can't get this guy to fit in here. Well, anyways, so that is it. Wow, very interesting stuff. Very, very, it's a shift, maybe. We'll see what the next Marines do, but it's definitely might be signaling a shift in the design philosophy of Games Workshop, and with both easy to build and we'll call it easier to build, which is really cool. I like this. So, definitely leave your comments like, hey, I get it. You want to spend 45 bucks on a dude, you want to glue them together. I get it, but this was less work and it didn't have any flash. And basically, besides trimming all of this, you're talking this guy together and ready to go in like 20 some minutes, which is kind of crazy if you start thinking about it, even for a multi-part kit. I'm using quotation marks. Anyways, that's it for this one. Thanks for bearing with me on all my terrible jokes. Enjoy the new releases. Like I said, you can always get your hobbies for less from dicehead.com or Amazon, of course, and we'll put the links in the description and at the comments below.